base requires a SQL backend, and it requires the snort to be configured to feed into that SQL backend. Simple to do. Snort's very good with that with its Barnyard plugin. Pardon me. TCP dump. The Swiss Army chainsaw of packet sniffing. I'm sure most people have either heard of it or have seen it before. If you haven't, wow, that cave must be very musty. TCP dump, you can use it to monitor everything. Basically, you can say TCP dump, just capture every packet you see ever and write it to a file. If you run TCP dump, there's something called a snaplin. TCP dump by default will only capture X amount of bytes, and if you're monitoring, say, an Ethernet segment, your packets can be up to 1,500 bytes. So it's only going to capture that first X amount of bytes for what the snaplin is configured for. So if you're using it to monitor your intrusion detection, you want to get a best picture of what's going on, you want to have it to set as your maximum transmittable unit. I learned that the hard way, as you can tell. It's very handy to piece together new attacks or see stuff that Snort missed. Snort, like I said, is signature-based. It's not going to capture everything. So what you want to do is you want to have TCP dump to capture everything that Snort is missing, and if Snort, for example, has some type of, if Snort doesn't have a zero-day exploit for its signature yet that just came out not even 3 hours ago, TCP dump will allow you to see what the heck's going on, and if someone at Snort is at the wheel, you can actually configure your own Snort rule for that. A lot of the times with Internet Storm Center, if people actually go visit it, if they see a new exploit come out, they ask for people to capture TCP dump, and you can say, "Ha, I can do that. I can mail that to you." What it is there's a PCAP format. PCAP is a pretty standard way of that TCP dump writes its files, and you can import that into Snort, Wireshark, Network Grep, NGrep. It's a very standard. Almost any type of packet dumping or packet sniffing utility will support it. Warning, if you are using TCP dump, and I'm sure that no one here is doing anything illegal off their internet connection, you are monitoring your network. If you are going to monitor your network, and this also comes out for Snort, you may record traffic that you may not want recorded. Going to PersianKitty.com or something. Make sure that your TCP dump, Snort, whatever you're using to monitor your network is only picking up the packets you want it to, and not to say, your console where you're trading on Pirate Bay. So if you get a knock on the door, you're not having a wonderful, here, have my libpcap file. You can use that with Wireshark. Monitoring Honeyd and Nepenthes. Now, Honeyd and Nepenthes, Honeyd has a very arcane file structure for its logs. Nepenthes, like I said, it's a hack. They kind of said, oh, geez, we really need to write a logging feature on this. Nepenthes, the Honeyd log are very arcane. It's sort of host IP space, your destination IP space port number, and then it's 4 or 5 different type of file lines you can get from that. Thankfully, I came across this wonderful utility that not a lot of people are using called Prelude. It's called Prelude IDS, which is stupid because it's not an IDS. They're like, oh, geez, we'll go create an IDS that will compete with Snort. And then they realize, wait, Snort doesn't really suck that bad now, does it? It's very much a way to correlate indications and warnings. You don't need to use it, but it has a pretty web-based console, so you can show it off to your supervisor, significant other, or whoever wants to actually see it. It's very nice. It has a great program, horrible documentation. They just toss some things up on their website, and they're like, it's documented, we're all set. We would really like some other people to write our documentation for us. Yeah, no shit. It's really bad. I'm not kidding. It's disgusting. It's 8 lines of here's how to set up the web interface. Please, attach slot A to tab B. Okay, there you go. You're all set. Wait a minute, it's not working. Too bad. It's open source, but it's not really open source. It's released under GPL, but if you ever want to create a patch for it, you have to sign over your patch to the maintainers so that they own it. Asterisk does the same exact thing. I've never been comfortable with it, so whenever I create a patch, I just release it under my own little license, and I don't let them incorporate it into their source tree. Forget you. How Prelude works. Well, so for example, can we see it actually? So the two files down at the bottom are, say, like a honeyd file and a nepenthes file. That gets read into something called a Prelude LML. Now, the LML stands for log manager lackey. I don't know. They thought it was something cute, but I can never remember what it's called. That Prelude LML and these, like, say, for example, you have a snort installation running, that can both be fed into something called a Prelude manager. That actually does all the correlation and will log it into one giant database. And then from there, you can actually, look at the database raw if you're using pre-Weka, which is what it's up on the top there. I'll get a better screenshot later. You can monitor it. And then it's not just honeyd and it's not just nepenthes. If you're using Prelude LML can support a lot of different log file managers or log formats. Apache, your system logs. So, for example, if you're running a high interaction honeypot, you can actually use Prelude LML. Of course, if some attacker actually sees this, they'll start to wonder what exactly is going on, and likely they'll kill it immediately. And here's a sort of close-up pre-Weka. This is just some of the stuff that it saw. This is a screenshot right off their webpage. So, for example, I'm not sure if anyone can see it. The first line says, webmisc robot text access. That's a snort alert. Then it says, two TCP packets dropped, which was coming in through Prelude LML, which is actually something from the internal firewall. TCP packet dropped, and then toward the bottom, you notice how everything is nice and orange up on the top, and how we got down to red. We know it's bad because it is red. It says, back orifice traffic detected, TFTPF, get it, and that's all both Prelude LML alerts and snort alerts. But what it actually has done, and you really can't see it from here, is that it's all correlated to a single time frame from a single IP. So this 82 dots whatever character is doing something very nasty. So it's something that you actually want to look at. Now, response. Now we're running this wonderful little snort impact. We're running this wonderful little snort in our honeypot. What exactly are we going to do with it? And this is exactly, don't we all want to do this? Just find whoever's doing it, just hit them real hard. Okay, so you got attack. Now what? Now there's three real options you can take. You can do nothing, you can attack back, or you can take down the server. Do nothing. Easiest thing to do. Oh, look, I got attacked. Saves your time, effort, and inevitable frustration. Trust me, I know. Cons is that you're actually not being a good neighbor and you're not actually accomplishing anything. Your choice is yours. Attacking back. Yeah, bad idea. Cons. I'm sure no one here has ever even thought about doing this. Illegal. Are you really attacking the attacker? A lot of the times, you'll actually see coming. Do we have a question there?
Have you ever heard of a botnet herder? Maybe he's propagating his botnet, and another herder having a honeypot to capture that and then using that as attacking back? Does that occur?
Yes, I actually haven't heard of the honeypot, but actually the Shadow Server project used to have publicly accessible all of its statistics on honeypots. I'm sorry, on botnets. And what they were actually seeing, and they actually had to remove a lot of people's access from this, is that botnet herders were going around saying, "Oh, here's a really big botnet. I want that." And they were attacking the computer. They, somehow compromised the botnet, where they either came in and they saw, okay, all of these computers are attached to this botnet. They obviously must be vulnerable to some type of vulnerability. Let me just attack these computers rather than scanning entire Class A. So what they were seeing is, these computers, someone was connecting up to an IRC server, seeing the infected computers, attacking those infected computers, making them part of their botnet rather than the, other bad person. And so they actually had to remove that. I'm sure honeypots are actually being used by the people who we don't want using them, but I've never heard of anything I've never heard any hard evidence of it, but it's definitely within the realm of possibility. So as I said, illegal. I'm sure we all know that. Are you really attacking the attacker? A lot of the times you'll just be attacking some helpless grandma in, northern New Jersey, who downloaded this thing off the web trying to get Bonzi Buddy. But and the other question is, what exactly are you attacking? What exactly are you accomplishing? All right, so you hacked all these computers. Congratulations. You remove the evil botnet client. These computers are still going to get attacked. They're still going to get compromised, because unless you're going out and being Robin Hood and patching these systems. which is a nice little legal loophole, I guess. Oh, I was just trying to help people. Nah, it ain't gonna fly. You're gonna get, yesterday at 10 a.m., they had a wonderful issue about researching botnets and legal issues. Wow, I was kind of afraid of some of the stuff that I was doing. I thought it was, solid, tight, I wasn't actually attacking anybody. I was just, I will show you an example of some of the things you can do afterwards. But some of the stuff where I just try to take down servers where I say, these servers are compromised, please remove them. Now I'm not sure if that's 100% legal or not. There are no pros. You are part of the problem. Takedowns. Now, takedown has a bad name because we all know about the Mythic movie. This is not, you're not going to be punching, whoever that was, Shimamura. Pros with takedowns is that they're legal, effective, and they actually remove the immediate problem. What it is we'll show you later, is, okay, I got attacked. All right, let me go contact that ISP, talk to Bob, who's, the first tier help desk support, and try to get that removed. Normally doesn't even know what the hell you're talking about. This is very much a whack-a-mole, because despite you trying to remove this computer, there are going to be 2 or 3 definitely set up. And like I said, inevitable frustration. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's a lot of effort, and you can keep on some of these ISPs for like weeks at a time and not have this attacking computer removed. They'll be like, oh, geez, we contacted the person, but he didn't actually, leave us a valid email address, and his phone number's changed, and just take it off, unplug the damn thing. So we're actually going to go through a web takedown, and this is exactly what I love to do, just take down the hard way. So this happened actually last week. I got 3 of my honeypots got probed. Web and Snort there was a forecast vulnerability. I had no idea what the hell forecast was. Sounded like some type of porn thing. Yeah, and this is exactly how I feel down the bottom. I figured, Edgar Allan Poe. I have my cigar and my bottle of cognac, and I'm, hearing rapping on my door. I looked a bit closer. Oh, pardon me. Let's see. I just saw. Okay, it was from Snort. It was at 7:12 at 3 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't up then, so it definitely wasn't something I was doing. It's the Snort alert was a WebMISC 4-task remote code execution attempt. And you see all the stuff coming in from Snort. Snort actually has this really nice plugin called IDMEF, which is the Intrusion Detection Message Exchange Format. A couple of months, actually probably about 6 months ago at this point, it became an RFC. So it actually is a valid, XML format for that other vendors hopefully will start supporting soon. So you can actually have your other IDSs and firewalls start reporting into your Prelude server, or you might actually find something that actually has better documentation than Prelude, so you can move to that. It has a little Snort-specific stuff down the bottom, like your vendor-specific, your CVE, your bug track ID. I'm sorry, your vendor-specific Snort ID. So going further down the line, this is further down the page, same page. Here's all the stuff from Snort, and we saw, okay, it's a Git attempt. It's, you look down way at the bottom, calendar tools, send reminders, and it's... All my presentation will be up on my website later. So it was trying to do a remote file include attempt. If you look at the bug track ID and the CVE, you'll actually see what exactly the bug is. Remote file inclusion, I sanitize it off the website because this is exactly the point I was trying to make. If you say, okay, this person attacked me, this is an IP. The IP that I didn't print out, that's the actual person probably attacking me because it's Russian Federation. However, this IP that they gave us that I did blur out is that it's it's a completely innocent third party, which we will find out later. So another word of warning. I just added this the other day after hearing all about my legal things. I didn't do any of this. My friend Bob did. He just said, I gave him the IP. I said, if you really want to look at this, go right ahead. This is an interesting thing. It's like, I always knew it was kind of a hazy gray area, and now I know even more it's a hazy gray area with that presentation yesterday. Whether or not, what exactly you're doing, there's a question of whether or not it's actually illegal or not. You can say, I'm a researcher, but try saying that to the FBI knocking on your door at 4 a.m. So anyway, we saw this file. It's /temp/1.gif. That's a file they were trying to feed us. We decided to grab it. Notice how I use Torify, so it's going through an anonymous proxy. Even if it isn't illegal, do you really want this to come back to you? Or you might wake up to a nice denial of service on your hands. Believe me, it's happened. to me. Anyway, so this 1.gif, it's an awfully small file. It's only 104 bytes. Oh, Morpheus hacked me. That's strange. Where have I heard this before? Now, if we go back to the snort, it actually if you go look down really close and you have really good eyes, you'll see user agent Morpheus.